and welcome to Under the Flag, where we just want to talk about One Piece. We got our captain, Ianagro.
Hello.
We got our vice captain, Lucian.
Hello.
And we got the competent navigator that practiced the intro today before recording, Saflam. Hello.
The title is Under the Iron Flag, right?
Yes.
Okay. 'Cause you said Under the Flag, and I just made the email 5 minutes ago.
Good job. You did something.
I did. We're 4 recordings in, and I finally did my job.
You contributed to the Iron Flag podcast.
Yeah.
Today, we are going to be talking about Arlong Park. Probably one of my favorite arcs in the series. A big turner for me as a storyteller and a writer. What was this arc to you, Lucian? I want to ask, and then we'll go into Inagro's thoughts as a newcomer.
I mean, I think like most people, this for me is when One Piece went from good to great. I think this is One Piece's first great arc. Like as I was reading through the chapters, I was like, oh, it starts like this? It just starts incredible. It doesn't fall off. It doesn't have any it's just great all the way through. Like it's just such a fantastic arc. Like to criticize it, you have to kind of really dig, like I'm sure there are things you can criticize about it, but for being this early on, it is incredible how high the stakes are, how well put together it is, how every chapter feels important. It's just great all around.
All right, Inagra, as a newbie to the One Piece world, how did you feel about this arc?
Can I veto?
Veto? What?
Not say any?
No, you're not the president. You're just the captain.
It was okay.
Oh, God.
What?
It was fine. It was good.
Get
Don't
out
get me
the
wrong,
plank.
It was good.
Get out the plank and the swords.
Mutiny time.
This podcast is over.
I did. It's the best one so far. I didn't love it.
You didn't love it. What did you not love about it?
Many things. It was kind of predictable, or extremely predictable, very tropey. Though it's what the late 90s, early 2000s when this came out.
Yes.
I didn't really like any character outside of Nami, Zoro, and why did I forget Luffy's name? Luffy. And the fights were boring.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
For me, this was the first arc where
and
every fight is good. I still remember all of Arlong's crew. I thought that they were the best, most interesting crew by a good amount.
I agree. What is an interesting fight for you then?
The only fight I've really liked in the series has been Zoro and Hawkeye.
Interesting.
Well,
I also
guess,
think
are there
Luffy
any
versus
similar...
the antagonist of the last arc was also enjoyable.
You didn't like the antagonist of this arc?
Great.
You didn't like Arlong?
No,
Really?
I really didn't like him. I thought he was a terrible antagonist.
What?
I don't think there was a single interesting thing about his character other than that he was evil. He is evil man who should be fought.
I don't know what to say.
I'm sorry. I can feel the disappointment radiating off of the two of you.
How could you? Arlong is the most. Every villain has been cartoonishly evil, but Arlong.
I was more interested in Buggy's story in this arc. As we progress.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. I agree with you. Buggy's story is more interesting, but he's still a really cartoonish villain. he's evil for the sake
Literally.
of treasure, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Arlong is like, he's like, I wrote like, I had half of my page of notes is about Arlong as a villain and like how manipulative he is. I think, like when he says there's that scene where Nami in the village and he's talking to Nami and he's like, you can save the villagers if you want, but if you side with these people, I will kill you and all. I won't kill you, but I'll kill the villagers in front of you slowly. But it's your choice. I like. That's such a very manipulative person's way of saying that you don't actually have a choice. Like you either do what I want or I kill your loved ones, right? But he doesn't say it that way.
Yeah.
He says it's your choice. And I think I don't think any villain up to this point has kind of like done that, in my opinion. They haven't like presented themselves as the altruistic, like Arlong is a narcissist, in my opinion. And
They haven't presented themselves as like intelligent.
yes, I agree. Like Arlong is kind of obsessed with himself and his race. Of course, he's kind of like the fishman race is the best race or whatever, and I'm the best of the best. And it's kind of like he's very emotionally manipulative, and he also like has the like his mind is so warped that he thinks him and Nami are like friends. Like they actually have a bond, you know, that's genuine. But his definition of the word is so different from Luffy's definition of the word. He's like, oh, she's my friend, she'll work for me, you know, and I can use her skills better than anybody else because he's a narcissist. But Luffy, on the other hand, I don't want to like get into bog down the details, but it's just really shocking to me that you don't find his character to be like above par, above all the cartoonish villains that we've met so far.
I don't know. I feel like he was there to be fought, and he was evil, and his motivation was money and power, and I don't know. Maybe if the story had presented him as maybe he is altruistic in some sort of fashion, but it never does. While he is manipulating other people and they see him as possibly maybe he will go through with the deal. It's obvious from the very first page that he is not going to follow through with any deal or anything like that. He's just evil.
I don't think it was a question of whether he would follow through with the deal with Nami. I think what made it interesting was Nami's reaction to it and how she fell for the trick. Like we as the
She
audience
wanted to believe in it.
Yeah, because like there's no other hope for her, and he took that away as well. And that's like you said, it's so evil, right? I guess I see your point of view, but I think I like to see it from Nami's perspective, as it's like that's how you deal with a villain, right? You see what they do to the people that we love, which in this case it's Nami, and like what he's done to her is so like horrible, and I don't think I'm describing it well enough. I think the best way I can say why I like Arlong as a villain is that Arlong exists in real life. Like there are people that I know personally that act like him. And so it's just that realism kind of makes him above par for me. Like I don't know any buggies, to be honest. I don't know any Kuros or Alvidas.
They're a little too over the top to be believable.
Yeah.
Everyone knows an evil clown.
No, but and that's funny because Arlong is the most fictional of all the characters. He has the coolest design and the most he's a different race, and yet he's the most relatable out of all the villains to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the purpose of him being, you know, a fish, is to be able to make this commentary without getting, you know, especially, I would imagine in Japan at the time, like, I don't know how the, you know, race stuff would have really gone over. I don't know. I'm not Japanese.
I'm not sure if it's a version, but I love the little English text squeezed in between panels of, guys, is not a swastika.
I know.
We promise. It's a Buddhist symbol.
Hey,
I swear.
not the last time that will show up.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Uh, funny thing is that like outside of like the Viz stuff, I think even in like official releases and the different media, like there are some characters who had, manji, or I think they're called. Or is that what they're? Let me double check. Yeah, manji. I also screenshotted that because it was very funny. That was
Wait,
the first page. I was like, that's hilarious. I need to screenshot that.
there was a
Uh,
swastika symbol? I didn't see that.
uh, well, it was the like manji, like the. Here, let me read the translator's notes.
Okay.
Unlike the
It's shoved
infamous
in
swastika
between
of
panels.
Nazi Germany, the Buddhist manji is depicted as a square rather than the diamond shape, and can point either clockwise or counterclockwise. An ancient symbol, the manji can be seen on the chest, palms, and feet of Buddha, representing good luck. You'll also see it on the belly of the fishy bad boy below.
Wait, it's on
Uh,
Arlong?
no. It
No,
was on a random
Random
fish
Goon.
dude.
Oh, okay, okay.
But
When
there
you
are
saw
other
abandoned his ship.
characters later on who, in the anime and all games, did not have it, but in their first manga appearance, absolutely had a manji on them. And because it was such a huge thing overseas and
Yeah,
became a bigger problem within Japan as time went on, they just changed it to like a cross.
that's interesting.
But
I didn't
yeah,
see that on one of the fishmen.
yeah,
Uh,
it might not have been in the version you were reading if you were
I
reading
probably
colored.
wouldn't have noticed it if it wasn't for the extremely large amount of text shoved in between panels.
Well, if you had noticed and you thought it was a swastika,
I
you
I
may
would have
have
just gone, oh
thought,
yeah, that makes sense
uh,
with these characters.
it's
well,
funny
Weird
because
before. Not so.
it's supposed to depict like peace and love and whatever, but it's on a
Yep.
character that's basically a tyrannical ruler and hurts people.
yeah.
Very two different kinds of not subtle guys.
What did you think of Arlong, Lucian? Do you have anything to add to my thoughts?
I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said, like
Yeah.
to me Arlong is so great because of, you know, how realistic he is. I mean, obviously, they make him a fish because it's more digestible for any, racial allegories or whatever, right? But um it's still very impactful, and I think that uh, to me, less so Arlong being just like, I want money, I want this, I want that. Like, how many times, and given, I think with the villagers, they have now been like actively oppressed by this specific group of people for so long that they can't fight back or else they're killed, so all they can do is fling insults, right? But anyone else who comes into contact with them also flings like, fishmen jokes and insults at them, right? It's like an instinct.
Yeah.
Uh and so that's what they deal with all the time, minimum. Uh and I'm sure they deal with more than that, more than just words. But I would imagine that there's more to Arlong than just, money and power. And that was my initial impression of him back when I initially, watched it as well.
I think it's
Yeah.
because he gets so upset when people call him that. Like
Oh,
you feel
yeah.
like there's a history there. You feel like there's more
Very
to it.
clearly when
Like,
like
you-
Zoro talks, when
Smack.
he insults him or makes like a fish insult, he's like, take it back or I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, I agree. But what did you guys think of like the village? I want to start like broad in and then we'll go more detailed. Like the Kokoyashi village specifically, just like the people in the town and like how they decided to like keep living on. That philosophy that they had. It's so strange. It's like keep living on in like this horrible times so that there can be better times later. But then they had like no hope for better times.
Hmm.
Even when they even kept quiet about knowing about what Nami was doing, so that in case she wanted
I
to
didn't
run
like that,
away.
by the way.
You didn't like that?
No, I was like, oh wow, I don't like you people anymore.
Really?
Why? What's
To
that?
me, oh, well, okay, yeah. Why didn't you like that?
We're gonna let this little girl work for evil murderer man so she feels okay and better about herself.
No, I think
I
they were
don't think that's
saying
why
I
she was
get
doing
I
that.
oh I get what they were going for. It
Which
didn't
is
land for
what?
me. Like, oh, the town's, letting her do her thing so that she's like feels better about herself in a good way. It was just kind of exactly what I said. Why I didn't like it.
I think they were trying
I don't think that's what. I think they were going more for. They understand that she has this burden on her. However, um, they want her to have the option to run and leave.
yeah.
If they acknowledge that they know that like what she's doing, then she's going to feel pressured to
Stay.
follow through and feel forced to earn the 100 million. But if she ever feels like she's in such a spot where she just is going to run and leave the village and leave everything behind, then she's not going to have to worry about like, oh, but everyone in the village was so kind to me. They always took great care of me. They were purposefully cold to her so that she wouldn't have that on her conscience.
I
So while it
agree.
seems cold, they were doing it out of care for her. Um, I mean, that's why they never fought Arlong. They were doing it out of respect for her. You know, they would have. They say as much that they, want to fight Arlong many times, but out of respect for Nami, who's actively trying to save the village, they hold on to their lives. Otherwise, what's she working for?
I get what I get what they were going for. I didn't like it much.
It's a complicated situation. You can't just like because these are like stronger beings, right? You can't
Mm,
just like go and be like, "Oh, we got to fight." Like if they decide to fight, they will die. Like it'll kill
right.
them. And so
Arguably,
Nami
the strongest person in the village was
again.
Bellamere.
Yeah, that's true. You're right actually.
So, you know, we saw how that went. And Bellamere was like genuinely badass. I mean, like her as Arlong knocks on the
More
door,
graphic than I expected.
very graphic,
Oh yeah.
very
The
graphic.
anime did it differently twice
Yeah,
actually, but I'll
Shocking.
talk about it when we get there. What
but yeah, like we saw how even the presumably best fighter in the village was sort of outclassed by Arlong. Um, so yeah.
speaking of Bellemere, uh, what did you on reread, Lucian? What was your impressions of her and her influence on Nami as a whole?
I mean, honestly, my impressions didn't change much on reread because she still even you know 1,000 chapters later or whatever is very memorable to me. Like uh, it seems she's still. I mean, as we can talk about later, Nami gets a tattoo of a tangerine
Yeah.
on her arm, right? Like it's always on her. So it's clear that Bellamere is the like Shanks to Nami,
Yeah.
or like Bellamere is to Nami what Shanks is to Luffy in a way.
Yes.
That's sort of like, I mean, honestly, even more, right? Like Luffy had Shanks for what, a year, uh, and Bellamere raised Nami.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
I honestly just really love her design. Like she doesn't look like a
yeah, she's
mom.
really cool.
She doesn't
Yeah, her
look like a
design is
mom at
great.
all to
Yeah,
me. And I think that's kind of like the point of her defying, I guess, stereotypes not
I
just
liked her hair.
yeah, her hair
Yeah.
is probably the best
Very different.
aspect about her. I think it's from her delinquent days back when
Oh yeah. I
she
mean,
was
even like
rebelling.
on the point of her not really being a mom, Nami steals a book, and instead of like scolding her, she's like, "Oh, hey Nami, what's up?" As she's being carried home by the local cop, basically. Uh, like to me, that comedy hits really well for one. Um, but two, it's just those tiny moments like that that really solidify her. In my mind is like, oh man, Bellemere's great. Like,
Her
you
priorities
know,
are different. She's trying to
yeah,
raise like
she
two
focuses on
girls.
these two, to survive,
Yeah.
not to be upstanding citizens in society, but to live.
Negro, what did you think of Bellemere?
Mm.
She was cool. I liked her a lot. Like obviously she is a character that is a like there to support the backstory of another one, but like I really did like what we got to see of her.
Yeah.
Mm.
Her
Expect don't don't say anything. Either way, I would like to possibly in the future see more of her through flashbacks because she obviously did lots of stuff
Mm.
before meeting Nami and her sister.
Right before she saves the two of them.
yeah.
Mhm. So I am curious if we will ever see her again, but I will find out when I'm caught up.
Hmm.
Um I I just want to ask, did this like put you off? Like, are you going to stop reading One Piece because
No,
of this
no, it was
arc?
okay. Like I said, it's still the best arc.
Okay.
It's like it is still the series is still continuously improved.
Right, okay. Okay.
I can tell how passionate you are about it, and
It's just
I don't want to pretend like I like it more than I do, but I
no,
still enjoy it.
I want your honest opinion. It just shocked me because every time that somebody new has read One Piece, they always tell me that this is like their favorite arc, and it was my favorite arc. So like in East Blue at least. So it's just I think this is the first
It
time
is my
I've
favorite
heard
arc.
I've heard like such neutral, I guess, criticism.
Negativity.
Yeah, I don't want to say negativity, but
What did you think of Bellemere on Reread Sapphire? Or, well, is this your first time reading this in the manga?
no, it isn't actually. So
Oh,
I
okay.
actually I didn't read the backstory. I read like the fights. I read like when Nami asks for help, and we'll get to that moment in a bit. But I read that, and I read after that, and then I started reading off and on again. But I didn't read the flashback, no. And so I knew it was graphic, but I didn't know her death. In the anime, he shoots her in the chest. That's what happens. But
Oh, I forgot about
in
that.
the
Oh,
manga, he shoots her in the head.
Oh
And
yeah, he
it's just
does.
so much like and you like he composes the image in a way where everything feels very claustrophobic when the event happens, like when she
The
gets shot.
reaction shots.
Yes,
Yeah.
everything's kind of like like really close together because like it's an instant, right? You have to display that instant in like on a page. But how do you do that?
it's
He
really good.
just
It's really good panel work.
yes,
Like
yes,
Yeah.
I
showing
agree.
it that way, blocking anything that might not be allowed in Jump.
No,
With
I'd say
panels.
it's more effective than showing her with a bullet head, to be honest, in my opinion, because it's like it's in your imagination, but you see the reactions on everybody else's faces, and so you know how horrifying it is. You don't need to see it. It's just how everybody reacted to that moment in such quick succession, and then the text of the sound effect being so big and large and overtaking the end of that
Mhm.
You
page.
don't actually have to see the moment for it to work. I have
Yes.
Also, the build up to it that
Oh yeah.
makes it work so well. Like,
exactly.
she can't bring herself to
To lie.
say she doesn't have any daughters. Not even to
Yeah,
lie.
that's true.
Like, I
You're
think
right.
she's totally fine lying. She'll steal. She'll kill if she's like a sailor or whatever. Or the translation later on was that she was a mercenary. So like, I think she's fine with crime, but she won't bring herself to say these aren't her daughters. So if she has 100,000 berries, she's gonna pay for them.
Yeah.
And she just gives them a brief hug, a brief goodbye. Make sure, you know, I'll face this fate. No one else is dying today. and just her final like Nami, Nojiko, I love you. Oh, always makes me tear up.
Yeah, and just something to notice is that she's hugging Nojiko with her arm that isn't
Oh,
injured,
I know.
and she's hugging Nami with her injured arm, as
Her
if to
broken
say,
arm. That was
yeah.
a more brutal panel than the bullet shot,
Yeah,
man.
as
Oh
if
my
to like
god.
foreshadow like the two separate paths. Like Nojiko's kind of, she's not gonna take it easy, but it's not gonna be as hard as it's gonna be on Nami for the future, just because of Nami's skill set and why Arlong wants it and all that stuff like that. I
I
just
did
thought that
pick
was
up
really
on that,
cool
yeah.
foreshadowing. Bellamir's death is just so impactful on my childhood, to be honest. It's probably one of like the first like deaths that I actually like let sink in. You know, Usopp's death was just like his mom was sick. Like, what are you gonna do about that? Usopp's mom's death. And Kuina's death, she fell down some stairs, right?
Kuina's death is funny.
Yeah, but like
Can't believe you'd understate. What was her name? Kuina's death.
he can't even remember her name. But Bellamir's
I'll
death
never
is
forget.
it's different. Her life was taken from her, and by such a vile, I'm not gonna say human being, such a vile person, and it wasn't out of like self-defense or wasn't like an accident. It was like out of malice, and this is like the first you see of that in One Piece, in my opinion. Just like that act of, and that's kind of why I like Arlong so much. He kind of represents the pirate part of being a pirate.
Well, and he shows why Nami had such a distaste for
Yes.
the word pirate.
Yeah.
You know, like,
He just
oh please, I've been working for pirates half my life. They're awful. Of course, I'm not going to join your pirate crew, Luffy. But then she sees, oh, this pirate crew is not a pirate crew.
yeah.
They are very different from every other pirate I've stolen from and dealt with.
And
Huh.
and just like as a child, like watching that, like cuz this is like in my memory, right? Like I've grown up with
Like
this series, so it's like maybe like my own family member died, you know? It's cuz you're a kid and you
the
like
first character death that really affected you.
yeah, I could say that. That's true.
I need to think what mine would be. Probably, um, I guess spoilers for Kingdom Hearts 2, the first beginning of the game. But mine would probably be Roxas at the very beginning, like in
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3,
That's
because I
another.
didn't actually beat that game and get a follow up to that scene for like 2 or 3 years after starting that game. But
That's actually another one of my earliest childhood memories is the prologue with Roxas and all that stuff. But Bellamere was like Nami's backstory is very. It's one of my first like tragic backstories that I've ever experienced, and so it always holds like a very close place in my heart because Bellamere is such a different kind of mother. She's not the typical, oh, I'll like wipe your face and like, oh, you should listen to the authority. She's like very based on survival and like she'll sacrifice for them and in different ways than other mothers would. And I'm not saying that like other mothers aren't more prevalent. It's just that it's such a unique way of depicting a mother, in my opinion, and it just sticks with you. That's especially
definitely.
with me at such a
It
young
feels
age.
more realistic. Like she feels like a more realistic depiction of a mother than most, anime moms.
I guess, yeah, because like the anime mom is like, "Oh, you're such a troublemaker," all that stuff,
Yeah,
and she's just like, "Nami, I can just buy the book for you. Like, why didn't you just
right.
ask me?"
Like, yeah, we're poor, I know, but like, I have some savings. If we bought the book, one of you kids would be dead, I guess. But we could have bought it. Good thing she stole.
And like you said, her last couple of lines that hug the like her declaration of love, really just like it's hard not
With
to
a
hit
gun
anybody.
to her head.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
It's so good.
I also just like a little kind of accent to this. So these are fishmen, right? They have like super strength and they can swim underwater and breathe underwater. And yet when they invade this village of humans, they use like swords and guns to attack them. Isn't that like funny to you?
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah, I guess so. I never really thought of that.
no, because Bellemere dies to a gunshot, and Gen and the other villagers are sliced up by the karate guy,
Oh.
right?
Huh. Yeah.
The
You'd think
karate
he'd be sliced
fisherman,
up by like a Hachi or something.
right? Isn't it
Yeah.
weird? It so
Huh.
I found that like odd, but then if you think about it, it's kind of like ironic that they're doing that. They're saying we're like the best species and we're the strongest, and yet
Yeah.
they're
We can even
using
beat you at what you do.
and yet they're using human weapons to kill and beat up humans, which is
Yeah.
very strange. In this,
I think it's to show off like their supremacy in their minds, like
I guess,
uh
but it's so hypocritical to me. I think that's the point,
mm,
right? It's
yeah.
just, like you'd think Arlong would just like bite off her neck or something like that. But
That one Shonen Jump might have a problem with.
maybe that's why he did it. I don't know.
Uh,
Maybe it's because she attacked him with a gun and he wanted to like you said, be like,
eye for an eye
oh,
sort of deal. But...
even with your weapons, we are better than you. Even though it was close range, like if he missed, he would have been like
the laughing stock
dumbest
of the
shark.
town.
Yeah, right. Just a
What
little
did you?
aside.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it was just a little aside that I thought about
Oh.
when I was rereading it.
Yeah, I never thought about that, to be honest. Yeah. I'm curious on Agro's thoughts on this first, and then to get yours as well, Saflam.
Okay.
I imagine you may have noticed this in the past, but maybe not. So, Agro, you may have noticed this, you may not have, but we hear Nami's backstory. The crew hears Nami's backstory. Johnny and Yosaku end up overhearing Nami's backstory. Luffy walks off. Luffy did not hear any of Nami's backstory. He voluntarily, as Nojiko was about to start talking, walked off.
Yeah, because she
Why
said
do you think he did that?
to leave because she said you have to leave if I tell you the story. Like she said, I'll tell you the story. You have to promise to leave. And so he said no, and then left. Also, he doesn't care.
Mhm.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Her story could be she once murdered 100 people for fun. And he'd be like, cool. Don't do it again. Let's go.
I mean, Nami already told Luffy why she despised pirates in Orange Town. That's all he needed to know. She said,
Yep.
pirates killed somebody really important to me. And he's like, oh, okay, I get it now. He doesn't need to
Yeah.
hear all this back. He doesn't need to hear. He says as he walks off, he's like, it doesn't matter what her backstory is. Like Ainagro said, she could have killed 100 people for funsies,
Right.
and he still would have fought for her.
Yeah, that for me it was also like I just really loved him just walking off. He's like, oh, whatever. I don't need a sad backstory to back up my friend. Like, I want her as my navigator. I'm not leaving until she joins me.
Yeah.
And so, that's before he sees her crying. That's before, he sees the devastation Arlong has caused, the villages. The only context he has is, like you said, from Orange Town. And like Agro said, being told that if he listens, he has to leave. Which, honestly, I never even made that connection, but you're probably right that
Yeah.
Luffy, of all people, would be like, oh, okay, then I can't listen. I honestly never thought about that, but you're totally right that that probably was a thing in Luffy's head where he's like, oh, if I listen, I have to leave, I can't listen.
Ainagro said something in the last episode that he wanted to happen in this arc, which is he wanted the crew to be
did?
separated a little bit longer.
Oh yeah, they did. They were
That
separated
happened a
for quite
lot.
while.
Yeah.
You know what? I also said
All got
something
their
else
own
last
individual
chapter
fights.
I'd like to talk about.
Go ahead.
Which I'm very sorry. I did say Sanji was cool. I take it back.
Oh no.
Already?
I hate him already.
That was so quick. Quick
I
laugh.
was
That's
like,
faster than I
The
thought.
last arc, it was like, oh man, Sanji's a real good character. Oh, and he also is weird with Nami, whatever. It was only one or two pages, whatever. It's not a big deal. That's his entire character now. He didn't. He kicked a guy and he kicked a rock. those were the things he did. Where he simped over Nami and then kicked a rock.
Sanji is
and a guy, a
tough
shark
to
person,
love.
a shark guy.
Sanji is tough to love because he's in that archetype of the simp, as you called it. He's like, he likes girls. I wish that Oda would take it more into like a chivalrous attitude instead of this like, oh, I love.
Well, it can be a good character trait. It just can't be the entire character. At least in this arc is.
Yeah, and that's a huge problem with me and Sanji's character is that most of the time, that's like most of his character, to be honest.
Yeah,
Which
it's a big issue for me with him as well.
Yeah, I didn't.
There are
I could
some
tell
jokes and stuff
immediately.
I
I knew
don't
why.
like that they do. That yeah, we'll get to those when we get to those.
In
but-
long running series like this, especially when you have arcs centering on other characters, is most secondary characters will go to their default state while they are a secondary background character, but they still want them to be there. I mean, it's very early on, so maybe I'm incorrect, or maybe this will change. But for Luffy, it's he's dumb but happy, and he's there. Zoro, he's brooding and cool. Nami, money. So far, I mean, obviously, they're probably gonna change a bit, but she's like, she doesn't want to be there. So in the past few arcs, but she will be. She has not had to do the default background character like the others have for certain parts as much.
Yeah, she's been pretty
Usopp
active
is
so
incompetent. And we'll see Sanji. He is simp. Girl.
I think I don't.
Books.
I don't mind it as much with the other characters defaulting to their.
Oh no, I'm not complaining about the other ones.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't mind their default states. Sanji's default state is annoying.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is. It's the most annoying of all of them, for sure.
It's only recently that Sanji has been like one of my favorite characters. Like he's risen up to like one of my top 5 characters. So I'm just gonna say it does get better. It's just it's a little rough for a while.
Only 20 years to go.
But like, don't blame Sanji. Blame the archetype. Don't like Sanji. I like to think of Sanji as like a chivalrous character. He's very like he's a ladies' man. He opens the door for a woman so that she can walk in. That's how I like to think of him, despite what is shown
presented.
Despite what is presented, because
it's your headcanon.
I will headcanon this so it doesn't hurt my soul.
Don't worry, it'll still hurt.
And also, I mean, some of his jokes are funny to me. So
no,
I don't mind it.
He's more tolerable
every
in
now and
anime
then.
because of his voice actor.
Oh yeah, his voice actor just makes the jokes land so well. His voice actor is the simp voice actor though. Like if you need a simp character, you get Sanji's voice actor because he balances that he balances it better.
Coolness.
To be honest, yeah. In the manga, it's rough. That's one of the.
I will say.
Go ahead, Lucian.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, just I feel Agro said he kicked the rock and kicked the fish guy, but I did like that in his fight he didn't just use raw strength.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion, he used his intellect more to his advantage. Like you'll see Zoro and Luffy fight, and those two just fight on instinct, right? But I thought that the resolution to the underwater part of the fight was really cool, where he's using his knowledge as a chef and knowledge of fish to his advantage, where he's blowing air into Kurobi's gills to, knock him out, right? Where he knows, oh, this would normally kill a fish. I can probably use this to my advantage in a fight against the fishmen. Yeah,
and that's one
I
of the
thought that
things...
really worked well with his knowledge as a sea cook, and I thought that was a pretty cool part of the fight.
And I actually really like that character, that part of Sanji's character. I like to think of him as like a James Bondish kind of person. Like, yeah, he's good with the ladies and all that stuff, but that's not his main.
Is he?
Point.
Is he good with the ladies?
No.
Are we sure about that?
He thinks he is.
Yeah.
He thinks he's James Bond.
But he has like the good aspects of James Bond, but not when it comes to women. Like he literally has everything else except for the women part. He doesn't have that down yet. And I kind of just I like that. I was like reading that fight, and I was like, this is a story about pirates, and this guy is using his knowledge as a chef to defeat a fishman. Like that's so whack and so weird. It's like we're not on a ship. Jack Sparrow isn't here. There isn't a kraken. This is just like really unique setting, really unique world. And I think Sanji adds to that despite his shortcomings. Before we get into the fights, though, I wanted to talk about Inagro's thoughts in the last episode about how he wanted everybody to be separated a little bit longer. And
you got that wish.
he did.
Yay.
I really liked the aspect of not that they were separated, but they each met with Nami like individually, like not as a group. Like Zoro met with Nami first, and then Usopp met with Nami, and then Luffy met with Nami, and they had to
and not Sanji.
and
Thank
Nami,
God.
but Nami had to. She didn't meet with Sanji because she didn't know him, but she had to like.
She's been in the same room with him twice.
Yeah, but she had to like.
Does she know his name?
She had
Waiter.
to. She had to.
I just realized she never learned. Like we never on. Did we ever on screen learn that he like? Did we ever see on page her learning that he joined the crew?
No, but
Okay,
she knows that he was going to recruit someone there.
Yeah, and
I
he
guess
fought,
he does immediately say he's going to be my chef.
and he fought.
And
He's
they
usually
specifically
beat-
went to that
Fair.
place to go recruit a chef for
They
their
did. You're
voyage.
right.
And
Okay.
Sanji fought at
Move on.
Arlong Park, so I
Well,
would assume
right,
she
yeah.
figured it out. What I was trying to say was before you guys
For
interrupt,
interrupting you again.
was that she kind of had to face like each person that she betrayed individually, and it hurt more each time she saw them. She saw one of them, like one of the people that she betrayed. Like
Aside from Johnny and Yosaki,
yeah.
she was fine with
Man,
that.
they existed. They sure were there.
They were cool in one moment.
Don't
We'll get to that
don't
later.
hate on Johnny Osaku. Yeah, we'll get to that
I don't
later.
hate them. I have no feelings.
Which
Fair.
is worse.
I'm not gonna blame you.
But I think my favorite interaction is between her and Zoro, because Zoro's like
Same.
slowly figuring out that she's just like pulling up a double front, because when Arlong mentions her mother, she makes this face of like
Oh yeah.
horror.
Extraordinary
screenshot of that.
pain.
I have a screenshot of that.
I think I did too.
And I love how Zoro just like, oh, you're lying, and then he just
Oh, you're
jumps
lying. I'll
into
just kill myself.
I love how Zoro's like plan for everything is risk my life. Otherwise,
What else do I have? I guess my life and my swords. The sword now.
and Kuina, but Kuina's dead, so. Is Zoro suicidal?
No, he just has nothing else to risk. He uses it as a weapon.
That's true.
His sword
I'm
and
not
his
gonna
life.
die. I'm the main character.
And I love that interaction where like he lets her go free. I mean, she lets him go free afterwards. After he saves her, she says, "What's the big idea?" And he's like, "Man, why'd you keep me waiting? I was actually gonna die, yo." I love how he like berates her like it's normal, because he figured out that like she's not actually mean or evil, or like she didn't actually betray them. Like there's something else that's going on, right? And like Luffy, he doesn't need to know like the backstory. He just needs to see her face and understand their friendship. I just like their interactions in this arc.
No, for sure.
lot more.
I like even made a note about it. I think like Nami and Zoro is definitely my favorite dynamic so far.
Can we appreciate how badass he is, by the way? He just survived a near-death attack from Dracul Mihawk, the greatest swordsman in the world. And then after getting released from jail, instead of running, he takes out all the fishmen still at Arlong Park and sits around waiting for Nami in Arlong's chair And then he's like, I could just walk out, but whatever. I promised Luffy I'd bring her back, so guess I'll wait here. And then
And
he
he
just
walks
tells
to the
Hachi he's a
village.
guest.
Mhm. Oh,
No,
yeah.
he doesn't walk. He tells Hachi he's a guest.
And well,
And
then he
Hachi's like,
goes
"I'll
to the
take you to-
village. And by
take
the
your
time he
boss."
gets there, they've already left back for the park.
Yeah. Now Usopp is there.
What did you guys think about the interaction between her and Usopp?
It was good.
that one might be my
obviously,
favorite.
They don't have as much of a rapport,
Yeah.
so they're not as close. But I obviously, I liked her step in her hand.
In the
Or-
anime, they kind of like stretched on that plot point a bit of like Usopp dying. And you see in the end
They
of one of
definitely
these episodes, there's this guy and he has like a shawl on him, and it's obviously Usopp, but like the anime doesn't want you to know that. But like in the manga, he just like appears immediately, and I was just kind of like, what? He doesn't go through the I am in a shawl and I have to keep my identity secret so that Nami doesn't get hurt or whatever. No, he just like, oh, Nami didn't kill me. and then he gets beat up by Sanji and Zoro, and then Luffy's like, who did this to you, Nami? And then Sanji's like, oh, that's actually our fault.
Oh no, my bad, bro. That was us. We were just fighting again. Apparently in the Four Kids dub, they went to very great lengths during that Usopp Nami scene where Nami stabs her hand and pushes Usopp into the water to save him, to very clearly say that she has a rubber knife and Usopp is using ketchup on his hand to make sure it's all good.
In the Four Kids stuff, she doesn't stab at her arm.
No, she
No.
does, but it's a rubber knife, so it doesn't hurt. And Usopp is using ketchup to make it look bloody, so
And-
it's all good. And thankfully, the shark doesn't smell the difference.
And also in the Four Kids dub, Bellemere didn't die. They took her prisoner for 8 years.
Anyway, bye, Bellemere. I'm going to become a pirate.
And she's just never seen. It's just never explained after the
Wow.
arc ends where Bellemere is.
I don't think Oda would approve of that.
Did you guys see the video I sent you of the Four Kids dub and with Draco Mihawk?
I have not.
I didn't watch that one yet, but I
Draco,
can imagine how absolutely atrocious it is.
Draco Mihawk has like a French accent because
Why?
Because
He even looks Spanish.
yeah, he looks Spanish, but because his name is
Well, even you said he has French.
his name because Dracula is his name is
Oh.
based on Dracula, and that's from Transylvania, right? And that's close to France, so
Close
I
enough.
mean,
They
wouldn't
just-
you go like more Romanian if it's Dracula?
And then they gave Sanji like this Bostonian accent that's worse than Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, how do you
Yeah.
become worse than Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh! It was
That's
so
Labras Persona 4 Arena.
it was so
Lucian
funny.
knows what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you just said.
It's okay. The most Bostonian accent ever put to fiction, except for Lucian, who will complain about it and say he's wrong.
Well, so is Joey's in all fairness.
Okay.
That's also true. Back to One Piece.
Yes. What did you guys think about the titular scene where Nami asks for help? That's one of the most iconic scenes from the series.
Oh, that was the best scene.
Oh, you liked it? Thank God.
Oh, you have a not shit take? Oh my god. A miracle. He did
I mean,
it.
I don't like it anymore.
Saflam. He had a good take this episode.
I'm so
Oh my
glad.
time
god, I was
really
so
liked
worried he
Luffy.
wouldn't have any.
It's the first time in the series I've really liked Luffy.
What?
Yeah.
Was him just egging her on, waiting for her to ask for help.
Yeah. And I think I have
And putting the hat on her was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Actually, no, the best shot in the manga so far is the shot of him grabbing the knife.
Oh yeah. It's even like the lead up to that too. Like obviously the hat on the head is like the most iconic part, but the village just being pushed over the edge of like all right, enough's enough. We've held off. We've let her carry this burden. We're not doing it anymore. We've got to fight. Leave the island, Nami. You know, you can still live. Just step aside. We've got to fight. And she just gets so pissed. She starts cutting into her tattoo, and that's when Luffy steps in, and then leading to one of the most iconic scenes in all of One Piece. And then we'll have to send you the walk to Arlong Park from the anime, which is
Huh?
even better.
Oh yeah,
Um,
they
the
animated that
the
so
anime
well.
adaptation is even more superior than the manga. Like the music, they walk to Arlong Park instead of it just being like the four of them
Just
sitting
suddenly
there and
appear.
then showing up. Like next chapter, they show them walking there, going past all the villagers and everything. It's phenomenal.
Uh,
Um,
I just wanted to talk about like the thematic significance of that moment where she asks for help.
oh
Asks.
yeah,
I'm from London. Asks. I wrote in my notes that she doesn't trust people because she's afraid that they will get hurt because Arlong, like I said, Arlong has this manipulative mentality of like making her the decision maker, quote unquote, when actually she's not. But she's been manipulated for so long that she thinks that if she connects with somebody that they will get hurt, even though it's not her hurting the person, it's Arlong hurting the person. So she doesn't trust anybody because of that manipulation that's happened in her life. And so she doesn't ask for help from anybody. She takes that burden on herself.
Mhm.
And it's only when Nami asked for help that Luffy took action. He's like, I'm asleep. I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna stop. Like only when Nami started
He's
hurting
just been waiting.
himself. Yeah, only when Nami started hurting herself that he stepped in, and it's only when she asked for help that he went to Arlong straight to him and fought him. And the significance of the hat, him giving her the hat, this is how I've always read it, is that here, take care of my treasure and I'll go take care of yours. I
That's
felt
good.
like
I
it was like
never.
a switch
Yeah.
because her treasure is what? It's the village that she grew up in with her sister.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
So he's
And the people, of course.
right.
Yeah.
Just like he did with the mayor, like he knocked the mayor out and he's like, don't worry, I'll take care of the situation in Orange Town. And like you said, the anime version is iconic, and this is probably the scene that made me fall in love with One Piece, where she asks for help. I watch it
Oh yeah.
on repeat all the time. Just like
It's just response of like shouting, of
yeah.
course, it's so good. And
I
then the crew just sitting there,
oh yeah.
all waiting,
Yeah.
you know. It's one of the best framed, most hype scenes, certainly the most hype scene so far. Uh Leading up to Luffy just busting down the doors and saying, "Which one of you's Arlong?"
Yeah.
Like, come on, that's such a cool way to start the encounter.
and it just and that's how
Definitely the best scene so far.
the episode ends. It's so good in the anime. And
Hmm.
I think the manga has the strength of like quick pacing, but like the anime has the strength of like we can time it out better. I'm guessing, in my opinion.
And manga's strength is always going to be, and manga and novels in general, is that you read at your own pace.
Yes.
And so obviously things can be badly paced, but it's on your timing. Whereas in a visual media, I hope you can keep up with the thing you're watching. Otherwise, it has to be designed. The timing has to be designed. Whereas
Yeah,
a
for
manga
sure.
is a moment to moment. You look at the panel as long as you want to.
There's some things where I'm watching an anime, I have to pause, go back, pause, go back, pause, go back, just to like reread certain things. So,
My
with manga,
problem,
just going at your own pace is nice.
my problem is that I read too quick, and so
Huh.
this never helps in the manga setting when you just like it's just
Yeah.
images sometimes. Like I remember there
Hmm.
was a One Piece chapter that was just images. There was no dialogue, and I finished it in like 5 minutes, and I was like, that was 15 pages of like just images, and it was all awesome. It was awesome, and I loved it, but it went so quick. I like yelled afterwards, like audibly. I was like, "That's it."
A week.
Yeah. So like I have to teach myself to read it.
Slow down.
Yeah. That's why I always
Yeah, that's
prefer
fair.
like anime over like manga, just because it's paced, because the pacing is set and I don't have to worry about that. But when I read it,
Oh,
I have
fairness,
to
the
worry
pacing
about
is
the
set at
pacing.
22 minutes. So
Early One
that
Piece
5
is good
minutes
at
would have taken
pacing
you
though.
22.
Early One Piece is good at pacing though. What
Hmm.
Inagra, what did you think about that moment with? I don't know if you said anything about it yet. The
It's good. Best moment in the series so far.
Okay, yeah, you already did say that. Okay,
Very
we
good.
can start with the fights now. Yay! My favorite fight was Sanji. Sanji's fight was my favorite. I'm sorry. It's just
I don't remember who Sanji fought.
Kurobi, he was the martial artist.
yes. Kurobi is.
I have no memory of this person.
I can only assume you read this today.
Yesterday. I read it yesterday. Probably mistake. Probably should have read it today.
I read this 4 days ago.
I don't remember a single one. There was the octopus guy. That's the only member of
In all fairness, Hachi is the best
Arlong's-
first mate outside of Zoro and Shanks' first mate, Ben.
You
Ben
know
Beckman.
what? There was one good antagonist this arc.
Well, who is
The
it?
giant cow.
Moo or Momu? I don't know how you say that.
The giant cow was great because they set up a weird like you expect like a kraken. It's a very big cow, and they like the main cast are scared at first, but then they just kind of like
Till Luffy punches
no
it
sell
once.
it. I was like, yeah, leave. You're a big cow.
That was a funny comedic
Get out of
moment
here.
when they first met the cow when they were sailing towards Arlong Park. And
I like it
Sanji.
because it could very easily become overdone. I'm sure the cow will show up again, but for now, it's a funny cow.
I'm just thinking about that moment where Sanji's like, maybe it's hungry, and he gives him, he's about to give him food,
Mhm.
and then he just kicks him, and they're like, why'd you do that? And he's like, he was about to eat me too.
Yeah, that was really weird paneling, where like he was just about to give him food, and then he kicked him. Like
It was a little confusing. It did look like
was a
it
bit
was just going to eat
confusing.
the food. I agree.
Mhm.
The feeling was a little confusing, but its mouth was so open that like when you read it again, it makes sense. But speaking of Boo Boo, real quick, poor Zoro just gets his ass whooped by friendly fire this arc, man. It's run over by like the boat at the start. He gets
Oh, yeah.
tossed by Luffy into the air after being on the brink of death, fighting for his life so Luffy can get out from underwater.
Oh, that was a good
After
moment.
fighting Mihawk and then Hachi, like he cannot catch a break, man. From the other like pirates and his own captain.
That moment where
Poor
the
Zoro.
village was like, you're crazy. What are you doing? Like, he's hurt. I think that's the
Luffy
main
just
reason.
knows he'll live.
I think that's the
He's
main
like, "Oh,
reason
fine."
Luffy chose Zoro as his first mate, because he knows he could take the pain.
Probably right. But
God, it's
what
so-
about you,
Out of
Ira? What was your
confidence
favorite
all of-
fight?
Oh God. Yeah, I know. Did
What
you
about
have?
you, Saplam? What was your favorite fight?
He doesn't.
She just
He,
said.
he doesn't have a favorite fight.
Say it again. It was I don't remember who, but Sanji fought a guy. Wait, no, sorry, Zoro fought a guy, and then that guy, then he lost, and then that guy went in the water, and then he got. I liked when he like did I don't know what to call it, the delay stab.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, his just
yeah,
his
he's
wounds
he shouldn't have-
reopened.
Yeah, he shouldn't have gone in. The wounds are gonna
way
open
later.
up.
Yeah, that was the only cool action scene for me.
Yeah, that was the taco, the octopus.
Yeah,
And when
Hachan.
Luffy punched up the room.
Oh yeah, that was a good moment too.
That's the
Uh,
second best emotional moment in the third. I don't know. There's too many good ones. Maybe
I
third.
I think I like Sanji's fight just because we haven't seen him fight, because in the last fight he was kind of like the Pearl guy just hurt him all the time, and he couldn't really fight because Zeph's life was in danger. But in this, the moment he got out of the water, he didn't even let what's his name talk. He just like slammed him in the face, and then we get all the name of the moves, and he's just naming all the things that he's hitting in French, which is like so like you're so badass you don't even need to name it in English. You're just naming it in French or Japanese or whatever. And then like and I love the moment a lot more in the anime because you know in like those Jackie Chan movies where like when he hits somebody it shows it like from 3 different angles when that happens. They did that in the anime when he did the Muton Shoto, the last move that he did against the guy. And so and then the guy is like, I'm gonna hit you with my most powerful move, and then he's like, wait, where did he go? And then he just comes for the time, Muton Shoto, and then it goes bah, 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 and you see it from 3 different angles, and then Sanji says, you want you don't want dessert? It's just like mic drop, just so awesome, in my opinion. It's just a great introduction to Sanji's set of skills. The underwater fight part was, like you said, he uses his intelligence as a chef to defeat him. And then the moment he comes on land, like literally this guy is nothing. These fishmen who are supposedly the stronger whatever, they're like chicken. I don't want to say it.
Yeah, he does just treat them like food.
Yeah, remember when they're talking about the octopus? He's like, yeah, you gotta sour it in dough, and then you fry it on.
He was very explicit about how to cook kachi.
Oh god, it's just Sanji's fight is my favorite, just because we haven't seen him fight like really well up until now, and then just that one-liner at the end. So like, it was like the cherry on top of the cake for me. But Einegger, I want to know what you think about Usopp's fight, because I feel like Usopp's fight has the most character development in this arc as a whole. What did you tell me? Go ahead. And use more than one sentence and an adjective.
Okay. He did fight a guy.
Yeah.
And he won?
Okay, before he won, what happened?
I don't remember.
What?
What happened?
Come on.
I swear I was paying attention.
Obviously you weren't. Okay, Lucian, why don't you talk about the moment since our laxative captain here. Laxative?
Look, you gotta do a lot to get me to care about a fight in a manga in general. Like,
this was a lot.
Real good.
It was real good. Usopp is lying on the ground. He's completely accepted defeat. He's like, he hasn't fought. He's just faking death. He's like, whatever. I can't beat a fish, man. No way. And as he's lying there, he feels more and more guilt pile on. And he's remembering just how serious his friends take their fights. And he's remembering his vow to become a brave pirate of the sea and stand up when it's
like, hey, fish man,
fight when it's important. And I think he realizes if he lies there now, it means giving up on that vow to Kaya and betraying the trust of his friends. And he stands up, takes on this almost assuredly lost fight against one of Arlong's officers, completely alone and isolated, and using his very unique bag of tricks and good aim, he overcame a way superior opponent. And it's a great moment because it's his first individual achievement in the whole series. He takes on a one-on-one and he wins, and he's super proud of himself. And the panel of him celebrating makes me emotional, man. It's like, you did it, Usopp. You've always lied. You've never accomplished anything on your own. But you don't need to lie about this one. You can finally brag about a real win. It was great.
Einagra, do you remember it now?
I do. I remember the character stuff before the fight.
Yeah.
I forget the actual fight, to be honest. I couldn't tell you what happened during the combat.
Yeah.
But before that, his character development was nice. Pretty much exactly what I expected for his development for the start. But I am looking forward to seeing where he goes from here, because I expected this to take longer to get to.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think Lucian
I'm,
encapsulated it really well. It's just
Yeah.
I think I like the actual fight itself. Like, yeah, all the
yeah,
character stuff was good, but like he's kind of like Sanji here. He's kind of like Sanji, but without the
yeah. No, he
strength.
has to fight using intelligence. He
Yes,
doesn't have anything else.
that's true. So like he uses the alcohol bottle, and then he like hides in the forest so that the guy can use his ability. But he's still green. He doesn't know how like fight should work, and he reveals as himself. And then he uses a fire. Like what is it?
Firestar.
Firestar is what it's called.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Did you know that alcohol was flammable?" This is like another cool one-liner. Like these guys, that they like practice these lines before they start fighting. Anyways, and then and then the fish. Like I love how these fishmen are just like taken aback. Like with Sanji, it's like just Sanji's strength. Like he can't comprehend it. And then with Hachi, he's like, these injuries are nothing for me, but no, Zoro cut deeper than that. And then with Usopp, it's like, oh, I'm fighting this like ridiculous human, but he got him on fire. He set him on fire, like the one weakness that these fishermen have probably. And then he starts freaking out, and then Usopp just gets a hammer and whacks him. Like 30 or 40 times to win. I think
He also throws in a rubber band to just intimidate him.
Yeah. Osappo no mane, I think that's what it's called. But the funny thing is in the anime they actually show the face of the fishman after all the hits, and it's just like
It's all beat up.
it's all like his face is swollen, and Usopp's like, yeah, I won, and then he brags about it to Nami later, which is really cute. I thought that was really fun. No, but I actually liked the fight itself. He used his brain, and then he just got a hammer and started whacking. Because that's what you do when you have a stronger opponent. You get a hammer, you start whacking.
And even then, he's been really brave this arc. He took a shot at
Arlong.
Was it Arlong?
Yeah, earlier in the arc,
Yeah.
he's like, I am Captain
I
Usopp.
forgot if it was Arlong or not. Yeah.
It was Arlong. Because he was gonna hurt
crazy.
again.
Yeah, I knew he was gonna hurt like one of the villains. Yeah, that's right. Like he has really. I mean, I think he is cowardly, but he's brave when it's important, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's always shown that. But if it really comes down to it, Usopp is gonna be brave. So he's there if you need him.
And I feel like Nami had a battle of her own too. Was like when she finally wrapped the thing around her arm, because after she stabbed herself, she's like, I can't just sit here and cry. I've cried all the tears. I need to go help. And she goes there, and then Arlong does that manipulative thing where he's like, oh, it's your choice whether your village dies or not. But
yeah, he's like, I can kill just these two and spare you and the village if you come rejoin me. Or you can join the other crew and I'll just kill you all. And then she finally is like, you know what? No, I'm going to join their crew. Everyone else here has already accepted we're going to die. So I'm joining them. Sorry, everyone.
But it was like her second test, like the first test was asking for help, and the second test was actually believing that they'll pull through. And Idagger, what did you think of the whole situation with Luffy underwater for most of the battle?
It's very clear that this series is going to be a bunch of what shenanigans will Zoro and Luffy get into so other people can do things. Tension still involved, which is not necessarily bad. Obviously, it happens a lot. I've read Superman before. It's basically everything with Superman and another character is that. So it's not inherently bad, but I'm excited to see the shenanigans.
I mean, but it's a legitimate weakness for Devil Fruit users. Just like, and Arlong took advantage of that. I know, like.
Well, in all fairness,
I wasn't
Luffy
sure on
put
the
himself in that
literal
position.
of it before this point. Like, I wasn't exactly clear on like how literal the.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it's anchors. They like sink.
In the first,
they are made of 100 tons.
In the first chapter, little Luffy wears a shirt that has an anchor on it, and it says anchor on it. No,
Does it
Yes,
work in
you're
a
right, yeah.
swimming pool or is it just ocean water?
it's
Uh,
ocean water, I believe.
uh, yeah. I think the sea is like, I don't know. They go into more detail as time goes on. So
You gotta find the loopholes. It's like the Davy Jones and Pirates of the Caribbean when he can't step on land, so he steps in buckets of water. He's on.
That is a funny one. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if they explained it yet. I don't want to spoil or anything like that.
yeah, that's why I didn't
Uh,
want to get too into anything regarding it.
That's
yes.
Because
fair.
there was some stuff with this arc I was confused about. But uh,
Can you say
I
what you were
don't want to bring
confused
it up.
about, or no?
I guess I can. Um, I guess I was confused how Luffy was able to stretch his neck underwater, being unconscious in the seawater.
Someone else pulled it up.
No, I know, but I didn't know whether or not
I don't think the
the devil fruit
properties.
powers would like
Yeah,
passively work underwater or not. You know,
I mean, nothing says that it doesn't.
I think.
it's true.
All
I
that's
didn't know
established is
whether it
that
did or
they
not.
weigh a lot while
Yeah.
in water.
I think
Mhm.
the idea is that all their energy is lost, but their
Right,
devil
so they
fruit
can't do
power
it.
could still, if their devil fruit power could still work, if it's like related, if it's like they don't have to activate it. I'm guessing. I'm not
Right, like I
really.
guess in chapter 1 we see Shanks grabs Luffy's arm as he's walking away. It just kind of,
Yeah.
extends without Luffy trying to do anything. So I suppose it's probably something along those lines, where he's not attempting to do anything. It's just his body will just stretch.
But the way he's like, his body came up and it kind of like that panel where he's like, I'm back. That was.
And then slingshot Zoro to the next island.
Oh man,
Uh,
that was a good.
but uh, speaking of Zoro, Agra, you wanted to see Zoro wield at least 6 swords in an earlier episode. You got to see Hachi wield 6 swords. It didn't work too well, but what'd you think? You saw an incredible swordsman wielding swords weighing 650 pounds each. That's 3,900 pounds of sword.
The weight isn't the same, Lucian. The weight's different.
The octopus guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good for him. I'm sorry. I wish I liked the antagonist more, but I did not like a single one of them at all.
Hachi's very good. I like Hachi a lot.
Uh,
Even if you don't like the others, Hachi's
Remember that
great.
he'd existed, at least. I remembered Arlong and Octopus guy.
and before we get
Yeah.
into Luffy and Arlong,
Octopus guy is Hachi.
I just want to say, Johnny and Yosaku are the MVPs. They saved those villagers, man, from going into their deaths because they said, "We're gonna wait for some men, and they're gonna fight."
I don't understand why they're here, and not from like a character perspective, from a narrative sense. I don't understand why they came in. They were background comedic characters for 2 arcs who did almost nothing, or at least nothing that couldn't have been done without a hand wave. Like, oh, the villagers left, or Nami saved them. I don't know, whatever. But they didn't do anything. They serve no narrative purpose.
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine it's probably, Nami having someone on the boat, like at Baratier, that way, someone who's not in the crew at Baratier, all that. Like, it's probably a bunch of minor things leading to their introduction. But
I'm just
they're
more
not,
curious.
like,
the idea
super
of them was.
important at the moment, yeah.
Was it just the introduce them now so that it can be like, oh yeah, those guys in the future, or was there a intent with them to do something now? Were they going to be more important in the narrative? Were they going to join the crew?
I think, for me,
I'm just curious as what the intent of them was.
I think I like them because they're just like, they're side characters that not only did they get Luffy and Sanji. Like Yosaku had to go back to get Luffy and Sanji to get to the island where Nami's at, but they helped save the. They basically saved the villagers. Like if they weren't there, all battered and beaten up, the villagers would have like stormed into Arlong's hideout and they would have died. To me, and they're kind of like they heard Nami's story and they wanted to fight for her, but they couldn't. And so they're like, this is the least that we can do. We can cheer on the sides. We can like say these citizens. We can show them that they can't, like, that this fight is not going to end well for them.
I think while we don't necessarily see it, like, they are bounty hunters, right? Like, if they make a living as bounty hunters, they need to be strong, you know, and they did get their ass kicked by all of the fishmen. So, you know, while we don't do like a good job of seeing their strength or getting any gauge of how strong they actually are, I think another point is to just show like, hey, these guys are kind of strong. Here's a baseline for, you know, these people are supposed to be strong.
Yeah.
And the fishmen destroyed them. Although I think them completely decimating a Navy ship is a better example of that with zero effort.
Well, I mean, we don't really have an establishment of how tough that would be.
That's true.
I mean, they created a whirlpool artificially.
Well, no, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. They changed the geography with Nami's maps.
I'm forgetting.
Did you read this arc?
The three officers like literally went underwater as a marine ship was incoming that got called in from Gosa, the first village that was flipped upside down, and it got completely destroyed before ever reaching the island because the three officers went out. One of them like attacked the boat, and I think Hachi and another fisherman, I forget which one of them, it was probably the martial artist, like created like a whirlpool underwater which completely decimated the entire Navy ship.
Oh, I think you were saying the Navy. I was going back to. I think you were saying the Navy did that.
No.
My mind went to back to when the last antagonist group who went and fought Hawkeye, and they were saved because of Whirlpool. I was like, the Navy didn't do that. I forgot.
No.
Here, okay. I'm with you now.
Yeah.
And that's why they know Ananami so bad, because her cartography skills were off the charts, literally.
Extremely useful for their for their particular.
The name of the episode.
Off the charts.
What did you think about Nami's dream to becoming of drawing the whole world, I guess, and
mapping out the whole world.
How that ability has been used against her by the Arlong pirates? I guess that's my question.
It was there. I felt like it was we need something for this character to do after this arc, so her goal will be this. Because everyone else has their big grand goal, and now she has to have one too, obviously. Otherwise, she'd just stay with the village.
I mean, she was introduced as the navigator, right? So presumably she's always had an interest in navigating.
I don't think it's bad. It was a thing I read and then passed by.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was.
I'm interested to see what they do with her character past this point.
Mm-hmm.
There's always the worry that they I'll say pull a fairy tale, and after their introductory arc where they're important and cool, they're just kind of there in the background.
Oh, and One Piece does not do that.
I assume that will not be a thing that happens.
No.
I think I told you this off the record, but
Off the record. Yes.
I said Fairy Tail is a series that you consume to enjoy, and One Piece is a series you consume to think about and write notes about. Like, you can't write notes about Fairy Tail, but you can write notes about One Piece. So although they have like similar aspects of like theming and friendship and mentors and mentees and dreams, all that stuff, One Piece deals with it in a different. One Piece deals with it in a more serious light, in a different light than Fairy Tail does, and that's okay, in my opinion. I enjoy both series, both dear to my heart. They both do different things, and they both do the same thing differently. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What did you guys think of Luffy's fight against Arlong?
I really liked the lead up to it. Luffy's speech of, yeah, I can't chart a course. I can't
Oh, that was really good.
cook a meal. I can't
swing a
I
sword.
don't know what's, yeah,
And
swing
I
a
can't
sword.
lie.
Oi.
I can beat you.
What can you do then? I can beat you. I think my favorite lines from Luffy are when Arlong is like, "We are different species. What, do you know the difference between you and me?" And he says, "Nose." Like, I forgot that happened, and I laughed out loud. Because in the anime, he says, "Hana."
web fingers? Gills?
No, he says, yeah. He says gills, and then he says, he thinks about it. Web fingers? And then he's like, "No, it's the race, it's our strength." And then he's like, it's like, how do you explain racism to Luffy? You can't. Like, Arlong is trying to, like, degrade him and insult him, and Luffy's just like, so? I can also break this pillar too. Like,
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I punched it, it broke. So what, bro? I'm strong. I'm not a fish man.
just, I forgot that scene was in there, and I laughed out loud when he said that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like Inagro said, the cartography room is probably the best part
Oh,
of
by
the
far.
fight. It's the most emotional part, and then, like, after that, you know, like, Arlong's gonna be defeated. It doesn't matter.
It's also the first time Luffy sees. He didn't listen to her backstory.
Yeah.
He hasn't heard or seen, like, the extent of why is Nami crying. Like, his reason for fighting Arlong. You made our navigator cry. Easy, right? But then he gets to her room, and he's enraged because he hasn't heard the backstory. He, just knows, oh, she was crying, and, I saw all her stuff getting stolen by the Navy. But this is the first time he's, like, completely faced with the reality of everything she's gone through in the last 8 years, as Arlong mentions the amount of time. So of course he gets pissed off, He sees the bloody pen, and then Arlong mentions, like, he asks if Luffy can use Nami as well as Arlong can.
That's where the narcissism kicks in.
Yeah, and Arlong talks about Nami, I don't know if this is the Viz translation, or he literally compares her to, like, a pet kitten. So, I think the combination of all these things is just what makes Luffy just boil over, just destroying her room, absolutely ignoring Arlong in the fight, just breaking down the room. And obviously Nami's the only person who notices or understands what's going on, It's definitely my favorite part of the fight. It adds a ton of emotional weight. I mean, he was already pissed off, Luffy, but he didn't really grasp the full weight and gravity of everything she'd gone through because it wasn't important in his decision to help her,
I think if I were to lay criticism on this arc, just like one tiny little nitpick, I wish they showed this room before that happened.
Yeah, like earlier.
Just to, like, set it up. But
I agree.
Other than that
I think we were supposed to be, like, happy, feeling the same feelings as Luffy at that moment.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's a good way to read it. Like,
because Luffy knows all the stuff we do at that point, and he's doing it for Nami, and then when we get to that point, to an extent, it becomes he wants to do it to beat up this guy that did that thing to her.
Mm-hmm.
Not like he wanted, like, I don't know, it feels more personal to him. He gets angry about it, not for Nami.
Right, exactly. And he then attacks not Arlong, but Arlong Park. He brings down the building with Battle Axe. He's not trying to beat Arlong. He's trying to defeat the entire building.
Arlong is collateral damage.
Yeah, exactly. He's not even trying to just beat Arlong. He's like, this place hurt my friend. The place is coming down. I don't care about Arlong anymore. He can get beat in the. I'll beat him after. He just so happens to accidentally beat Arlong as he takes down the building.
So good. And then that scene where he declares the friendship. It just
That's so good.
tying the knot on the bow on the gift that keeps on giving, which is this arc. And of course the anime did that scene better. It just because of the voice acting and the music and all that stuff. Which is something we gotta send to you. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Like, they just have the party afterwards and...
Well, the epilogue's great, but there was actually something at the start of the arc, which, because everything was so exciting about the whole arc, we didn't really talk about.
Yeah.
But to start the arc, like in the first chapter, Yosaku gives us like a lore dump on the Grand Line and why it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So I took notes on that, and I used direct quotes to not give too much information.
Go ahead, sir.
So, Yosaku says that there are 3 main powers causing the Grand Line to earn its title as the Pirate's Graveyard. The first of which is the 7 Warlords, or as some in the fan base refer to as the Shichibukai, as the Japanese title.
Oh, okay.
7 government-sanctioned pirates who raid the seas in return for giving the government a cut of what they earn. One of those warlords is Mihawk, and then they mentioned another being Jimbei, the leader of the Fishmen Pirates. And according to Yosaku, in exchange for becoming a warlord, Jimbei released Arlong onto the East Blue. Obviously, Luffy and Sanji don't pay any attention to any of his warnings and have absolutely no sense of danger from what they head into. But
I mean, it works out in the end.
Yeah, he's Luffy. He wins. But
remember that when I was talking about pirates and pirateers and the difference between the two, because England and France and Spain were all in that, they had that treaty and they couldn't attack each other. So I think Oda, originally he wanted to have pirateers and pirates, but I think he changed it so that the Shishibukai kind of represent the government hires some pirates. And in turn they get benefits as well. And it's not like it's a Navy person who just became a pirate. These are like actual pirates that the Marines made a deal with.
Exactly.
So it's different from the pirateers in our history. And while there are like pirateers that were pirates and were hired by the Navy, most of the pirateers are like Navy admirals or like Navy people that retired, and the government just hired them to go and attack these ships unofficially, basically. But it's different in the world of One Piece.
Yeah, these are basically active pirates who just will not be punished or have like inactive. They don't. Well, I don't know. We haven't really gotten into that system yet. I won't go into that.
Okay, yeah.
But
it's so hard to like remember what is said and what wasn't said. I mean, Inagra's probably gonna forget it anyways.
But,
hey, look. If it's not combat, I'll probably remember it.
Okay,
but
fine.
To be clear, they mention 3 main powers. They talk about 1. So
wait, what are? I think I know what the other 2 are.
Yeah. So they name drop, the first of which being the 7 warlords. They do not mention what the other 2 are.
I mean, one of them's kind of obvious, though.
Well, maybe to you and I. Any theories on what the other 2 powers might be, Aggro?
Ooh, theory time.
An actual giant kraken monster.
Okay.
Not a cow this time. And oh wait, maybe it is a cow. It's a bigger cow. That was a baby. And I feel like a giant armada is way too simple, but that's most likely. Seems too simple. So I'm gonna say I'm trying to think of anything else that is not just, oh, there's a giant military armada. Isn't that cool?
I mean, so the seven warlords are like under the government, right? So like,
Hmm.
if one of them's a giant kraken, who do you think the armada would be fighting for? Are they just,
Yeah,
following
you
their own
have to
thing,
think
like
about
Don
the.
Krieg? Are they like
Well, I
fighting for
don't
the
know this,
government, like the
but
warlords? Like, who would they be
yeah,
for?
that is implied because they're working for the Navy, as is
Who?
stated, right? Aren't they?
No, I'm asking you,
They're not
like,
stated.
for what you're theorizing, who do you think the armada would be, like, under?
The Navy. I don't
Oh,
know
okay,
of who.
gotcha.
I assume there are multiple countries and political powers, but maybe there's not. I don't know that. I'm realizing I assumed things that I don't know. So let's move on.
I mean,
They're working
that's
for the
okay.
government. Blackbeard. I think Blackbeard's in this. Don't tell me. Him. He did it.
Sorry, no
I
Blackbeard in the pirate thing.
You're wrong.
was
False.
Jack Sparrow all along.
We only got Michael Jackson, no Blackbeard.
Oh, the Pirate King. There must be an actual. Is there a pirate? There must be a Pirate King.
He died 20 years ago.
Yeah, but there must be a current one, right? Like, because he died 20 years ago, and Luffy's not the Pirate King yet, which means there must be a current Pirate King.
It's a good question.
That's a good question, and we'll get an answer one day.
It might be a while.
Well, yeah, I expect it soon. They
I'm,
better
like,
deliver.
clenching my teeth.
I am excited because I think we're gonna get a lot of uh, like things along the lines of the lore dump, sort of like, oh, here's the seven warlords system in the next 5 chapter arc. Like, just systemic sort of things to discuss
I haven't read
in the
these
next
chapters, so I'm
arc.
kind of excited.
Yeah, it's fun, and I think that there should be a lot to theorize. And it's 5 chapters, aggro. Don't forget stuff and don't look over stuff, please.
They're not gonna. It's 5 chapters, which means there's not gonna be made full of fights. So I'm more
uh,
interested.
That's
you're
we'll
more
see.
interested because there's not more fights.
I am always interested in anything, and that's not true. Any reading, any I don't know what words am I trying to say. I do not like non-visual like fight scenes.
If
I
only there
very
were.
very rarely do.
If
Like
only
they
there were
need.
images.
I don't like. I don't care about the images. I mean, like oh, good drawing, but like it's very rare. Every little thing has to be. Every move has to be important and tell a story. Otherwise, it's just they're punching. We
Mhm.
could have just skipped 20 pages and said they punched each other. Now we get
I
to the good
understand what you're
stuff that's
saying.
happening.
I don't agree, but I understand your point. There are some manga I read where I agree with you. Like Black Clover, I find very hard to follow because of the paneling and the style. There are some chapters in it I really enjoy, but in some of the more recent ones, I just kind of find it hard to like follow because of the flow of the panels and the style of it. Um, so I understand what you mean. I just don't agree with it being a problem for me personally in One Piece. But I
I
do
think it's
understand your problem.
it's that like anytime, no matter what the medium is, want to know what's going to happen in the fight.
Mhm.
And too often in a lot of more action focused things, like shonen especially is probably a big one of those. But like even some like action movies, like I like John Wick a lot. Those are good movies. But every now and then there's a fight scene that's just they fought. The end. They do a cool fight, but I don't care about the things that are happening sometimes. Like a lot of the time they make things interesting.
Yeah.
I want to care about the moment to moment, and for it to not be they hit each other back and forth.
Mhm.
I'm
I
really
will say,
And I
worried.
did
I'm really
I
worried about
didn't.
because this series it's I don't want to say it's battle centric because it's
it
not.
Oh,
is.
it is. It is a
There's a lot
battle
of
shonen.
fights.
There is a lot of
That's fine.
fights, but it's
Yeah, it's a battle
Hmm.
shonen.
Yeah, it is battle centric, and if you have that opinion about like fights in general, and One Piece is kind of a lot of like it's
But
not a
like,
lot of
I hope I
strategy.
do, and I have before, and I hope I do care about the moment. If you don't need strategy or even tension, you just have to have what I liked about the arc, the fight against the villain of the last arc of every page or two, there was something new about him and interesting. There was, oh, how is Luffy going to solve this problem? How is he going to solve the stakes?
I see
How is
what
he
you
going to
mean.
solve the poison cannonball? There's something new and different. I guess there was for Arlong as well with the teeth. I
Yeah.
just wasn't as
Teeth,
interested
and then the
in that.
shark dart where he's coming in and out of the water.
Mhm.
Luffy counters that with his like.
Yeah.
You asked before. Uh, Wait, you mean that wasn't Gum Gum Shield? Because it was like Luffy just using his body to deflect bullets, and we're like, no, that wasn't. And that's because this was Gum Gum Shield, where he literally pulled his fingers apart to use them as a shield against Arlong.
I thought that was a cool shot of the panel of him
Yeah,
doing that.
Yeah. It was.
and then the finger
And then
net
that. And again, I think they
windmill
were
was
both going for
awesome.
the same thing. I just was not as interested this time.
Uh-huh.
I just hope Inegra isn't one of those rare people that doesn't like One Piece because they do exist.
I mean,
I
it's
am
probably not that rare. I'd
I am close
imagine
to
that
100 chapters in, and I'm enjoying myself. So
Okay, that's
he
good.
probably might. He's
don't
probably just not
worry,
a lover of One Piece. You know.
Yeah.
we will see. Maybe I will be. Maybe I won't be. We'll find out. I
But
am always wanting to like the thing I am reading or experiencing, even if it's really bad.
mhm. And there's a lot of I think you tend to enjoy the like world building piece of media, and I think that there's a
World
lot of that
building
here.
and the characters are super strong. I like the characters for the most part.
Yeah,
I
Not
think
so
naming
there's a lot of that in this.
Sanji, cough cough. But overall,
Agreed.
the cast is really good. I'm interested to see where they all go, especially now that we're at a like obviously we're at the end of the East Blue arc, right?
Mhm.
Saga.
Well, next
Uh,
next arc, but
well,
yes.
next, you know, 5 chapters. We're very close to the end of the East Blue arc, and everyone's kind of been set up as I think Safin told me that uh I believe the writer or mangaka or what's his name?
Oda.
Oda.
Oda. He's I don't know if this is a thing he said or not, but maybe you said something along the lines of East Blue is the prologue
Yes.
to the
Yeah, the
series,
first
and all the
100 chapters of the
characters are
prologue. Yes.
set up for them to then do whatever the plot is.
Yes.
Mhm.
So he
Yeah, these
had.
are the first 5 crew members,
I
so
think what I
this is the
told you
base crew.
was. I think what I told you was that he had the goal. Him and his editor were like, we gotta finish. We gotta get out of the East Blue at chapter 100. I think that's the goal he had in mind because he wanted to write more stuff when they went to the next island, but he couldn't because there was only 5 chapters left until chapter 100, and so instead he like gave the anime all the stuff that he wanted to add to it, and so the anime kind of like goes into detail about like the anime is longer in this because they add filler, but it's actually canon
Uh-huh.
because Oda told them that that's what he wanted to put in the manga. Is just he had the goal of finishing it at 100 chapters, and so he couldn't do that. So I'm kind of excited to read it because it's probably going to be super different than
There are even SBS, like there. I remember reading certain pages in the Viz, like adaptation or translation, where he's like, "Hey, here's a cut, page or panel, because this character has a new thing on them that they weren't shown getting in the next arc. Here's where they got it. We had to cut it for time and space. Uh, I wanted to include it, but we needed to cut something. This is what we cut. Here is the outline of them doing this thing.
And I think,
So I think they included that in the anime.
yeah. So I think my favorite kind of author is an author that improves with every story beat that comes after one another. Like Hiro Araki does that in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like part 1 is real trash. It's not the best thing in the world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but like you get to like part 5, part 4, and it's just like he fine-tuned all the good stuff that he started with, and he's just become a better author overall, a better artist. And the same thing is with Oda, in my opinion. He just gets better and better and better, and you start ranking the arcs based on like the latest arc is the best arc, right?
True. That is the truth currently for me.
So, rarely does he have like a weak spot, and even when he does, he learns from it, and he makes the next arc better because of it. And so this is like, some people will say that like, oh, after the time skip, it kind of goes bad, but the problem is they don't understand that he's trying to.
The way I've known about the time skip for a very long time.
Yeah, they don't, like, some fans just don't understand that he's trying something and it's just not working, but then when he tries it again, it'll be better. And you just got to be patient with these kinds of authors, because if you
like part
are
3.
then you get rewarded with just
JoJo's
like
part
part-
3.
yeah,
I
JoJo
love
part
part
3 is rough.
Okay, thank you.
It is, no, it's bad.
Introduction to
part-
Stance isn't great.
I watched part 1 and 2 about, I don't want to say 3 years ago now, and watched the first half of part 3, and I haven't watched any JoJo since because I hated it.
Yeah.
Before we turn into a JoJo podcast.
That's never gonna happen.
No, but like that's my favorite kind of author, an author that learns from his mistakes and isn't afraid to take like leaps of faith.
Mhm.
And Oda is the best person that I know that does this. So hopefully you won't be one of those people that won't like that, you know, that are like patient enough to deal with the bad stuff so that you can get to the good stuff.
I am interested. I will say I still like the arc. It's okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Even the stuff that I don't like when I currently read it in One Piece or watch it in One Piece, whatever, I have retroactively enjoyed it more based on things that happen later.
That's true.
So-
I do that a lot with a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's very
You know what
true.
movie is really good or wasn't very good? Star Wars Episode 3. You know what's really, really good now? Star Wars Episode 3. With like 3 different television series of like
I need to
consisting of
watch
like
those.
150, 200 episodes total. It's finally good.
I need to watch those. I started the Clone Wars, I think.
New podcast idea. Let's do it. Let's go. No.
Do you guys have anything else to say before I conclude my thoughts on the arc?
No, I'm
Nami's-
looking forward to next arc.
I never got to say that.
Sorry, I was talking. I didn't hear you. My
Nami's
bad.
sister was cool.
Somebody say something.
That's about it. I liked the ending of her stealing all the wallet.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the epilogue. That and her new tattoo.
Speaking of her tattoo, I really like. These are my conclusionary thoughts about it. I'm gonna be really brief. Her tattoo is a tangerine and a pinwheel put together, right? The pinwheel is obviously from Gen, and the tangerine is obviously from Bellemere, her father and her mother.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about it, and at the end of, and they didn't do this in the anime, but there's a lot of like narration. There's more narration in the manga, and it says, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's like it's good weather for a pinwheel to move or something like that, or to turn, because it's windy, and she's good with weather. So the pinwheel represents her what's the word? Affirmation? Her
Or like
Her-
decision to leave.
No.
Like,
I was saying it's the pinwheel represents her ability to attune to the weather, like the
yeah.
way that she can tell the weather so well. I thought that was what that represented. And in the orange,
Oh, her like attunement to the weather, you mean?
yes, and that the
Okay,
pinwheel also
got it.
represents her relationship with Gen, and then the orange represents her relationship with Belmare, but also, like I told you guys when she was first introduced, Mikan basically means money in Japanese, the orange that we're
Yeah.
talking about, the tangerine. And so that tattoo basically encompasses her entire character in one symbol. And I think that's just like one of the things Oda does really well. Takes a symbol and makes it a character.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Those are
Imagine going, I'm going to have to draw this symbol 100 times a year, every year for the next 20 years. It better be good.
Well, if she's wearing a long sleeve shirt, he doesn't really have to worry about that.
Hey, that's what he did for every other appearance she had. Long sleeve, long sleeve, long sleeve. She's been hiding that tattoo so far.
Okay. I think we're done.
I think so. We did go 2 hours on that one arc, but it's fine.
Told you.
It's really good.
When I started this, I expected us to like, not having read One Piece. I thought, we'll probably go to maybe an hour, every 20, 30 chapters. I like this better, though.
I think every episode is going to be like this, to be honest. I think
Yeah.
Probably.
okay, but the next episode we're not just talking about the 5 chapters, but we're also gonna like talk about East Blue and our thoughts that we've missed that we haven't talked about before. Like we're gonna do like a Sega, Sega.
Saga?
Sega.
Sega.
We're gonna do an East Blue Saga look back for Inagro and for me and Lucian as well.
Awesome.
Okay, this has been.
And if you
want to go,
you go.
I was gonna.
Are you ending?
Walk us out? Yeah.
Oh, if you have any emails or questions or concerns, you can send them to Under the Iron Banner. Wait, Under the Iron Flag. I did it right. I made it right. Yeah. Check. Let me. You can send them.
Yep.
You can send your emails to undertheironflag@gmail.com.
We're responding to emails? I'm not responding to emails.
I am. I'll do. That's my job. I feel bad for doing nothing. So I'll run the social. And we will maybe read it on the podcast. Just know we're about 5 episodes ahead of where you are.
Oh, that's a
So-
good one.
Maybe in a month and a half, we'll read your email live on air.
Live on recorded air.
Live on recorded air. That'll be. Yeah.
Anything
Also,
else?
because I rate us on Apple. What is it? iTunes? I don't have an Apple phone.
You're actually thinking about this
iTunes
stuff?
and other sites. I thought about this about a half hour ago, to be honest.
I don't think.
And because I don't know what that does, to be honest. I just hear all them say that on lots of podcasts. So do it because it's good, apparently.
My question is,
Algorithm stuff.
are people actually gonna listen to this stuff? I don't know. We know.
Well, we are recording it with the intention of people hearing it, so maybe.
I just thought we were doing this for fun.
Well,
You're taking this
Both.
seriously. You're taking this too seriously.
I mean,
Amber.
we're 5 weeks.
You're supposed to be
Am
the
I-
dumb captain. Stop it. Stop it right now.
But but I'm having character development.
He saw Luffy put that hat on Nami and realized he had to get a little serious sometimes.
Oh man.
Now you can end.
Okay, I'll end now. Man, she had 7 million belly left. Luffy
Yeah, that's
couldn't
a lot
come
of money.
sooner. Anyways, this has been an Under the Iron Flag podcast where we just talked about One Piece. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.